first step is to remove the front wheels and tires, and then we're gonna remove the caliper. Then we're gonna remove the cotter pin from the castle nut. Then remove the castle nut and the hub. Disconnect the tie rod from the knuckle. Disconnect the shock from the upper A-arm. This machine's equipped with a different kind of lift kit, so that's why there's 2 bolts here. You'll just want to remove the shock from the upper A-arm. We're going to disconnect the lower A-arm from the knuckle here. Then you'll want to tie your A-arm up out of the way to make it easier to remove the lower ball joint from the knuckle. Now take a pry bar and pry the lower ball joint loose from the knuckle. And you'll just want to let your lower A-arm hang. And we're going to come in here, pull the axle out, let it hang. Then we're going to remove our upper A-arm from the knuckle. So we're going to go ahead and remove the cotter pin first. Take your extension and put it through the lower ball joint hole in the knuckle, then connect it to your 19mm socket. We're going to grab our impact. If your stud on your ball joint starts to spin, what you're going to want to do is angle it up like this so it puts a good amount of tension on that stud, and then go ahead and continue to loosen the nut. Just like that. Then remove the knuckle. Then we're going to remove the lower A-arm completely from the machine. We're just going to remove our bolts. And then our arm. Remove the brake line from the upper A-arm by removing this bolt. Then you're going to want to take your caliper and sit it right on top of the differential, just to keep it out of the way. We're going to disconnect the front A-arm bolt. Remove this plug located underneath the foot pedals to gain access to the upper A-arm hardware. Then we're going to head back out here and remove the upper A-arm. We're going to remove our ratchet strap from the upper A-arm. Pull the bolts out. Then remove the A-arm. Remove the boot from the rack and pinion by cutting the zip tie. We're going to pull the boot back. We're going to grab our provided steering stop. We're just going to pop it right over the shaft of the rack and pinion here. Just like that. Once the steering stop's installed, you're going to take your boot, slide it back onto the housing of the rack and pinion. Make sure it's fully seated. Then take one of the provided zip ties, slide it up onto the boot, and tighten it, making sure that the zip tie goes all the way around the boot. Make sure you get as tight as you can, then cut off the excess, and then you want to repeat all these steps for the opposite side. Now we're going to head over to the press. Press our ball joints out of our factory A-arms and press them into our new SuperATV A-arms. Using a pair of snap ring pliers, remove the snap ring from the ball joint. Then find something that fits around the A-arm big enough for the ball joint to press through freely. Place the A-arm on the press. Find a socket that is just a little bit smaller than the top of the ball joint. Make sure everything is lined up, sitting flat on the press, and start pressing the ball joint out of the factory A-arm. Make sure the ball joint is started into your new SuperATV A-arm. Place the A-arm onto the press with a socket or piece of pipe larger in diameter than the ball joint so it'll press through freely. Get a piece of piping or socket that fits around the lip of the ball joint, then press the ball joint in until it is fully seated. Reinstall the snap ring, making sure it's fully seated as well. We've got our ball joints pressed into our SuperATV A-arms, so now we're going to remove our bushings from our factory A-arms and install them into the SuperATV arms. First thing you're going to want to do is pop the sleeve out. Then you're going to grab your bushings, pull them out of the arms. Then we're going to come over here to our SuperATV A-arm. And these bushings are going to be the same for the uppers and the lowers. So we're going to go ahead and put a bushing in on one side, bushing in on the other side, then take our sleeve, slide it right back through. Then we're going to repeat the steps for the rest of the bushings. Before you install your A-arms, you're going to want to take your provided grease zerks, and for the upper A-arm, you want to install the 90-degree zerk. And you'll just want to tighten it until you follow the tubing of the A-arm. And then on this opposite side, you want to angle it inward. That way you can get a grease gun on it. Then for the lower A-arm, you're going to install the straight grease zerks. And you'll just want to put these right into the pivot block. Another thing is, SuperATV is going to send these arms pre-adjusted, so they're going to be set to -2 on the camber. You can adjust them, any camber setting you'd like. All you'd have to do is loosen this nut here. So you loosen the nut, and then you'll make your adjustments, but we're just going for the factory adjustment today, so we're going to leave them exactly how they came. Then we're going to go ahead and install the lower A-arm to the machine here. Just going to slide it right back into its factory location. Grab an A-arm bolt. Now we're going to install the upper A-arm. We want to make sure that we have the driver's side A-arm or the passenger side. The way you're going to know is in the rear. The tubing is going to be bent up. So we know this is our driver's side. We're going to go ahead and slide it into the tabs here. Slide our bolts through. And we're going to go ahead and fully tighten our hardware. Then remember, on the upper A-arm, on the rearmost bolt, you'll have to come through the inside of the machine where we previously removed the plug and start the nut as well as tighten it. Tie up the A-arm, then we're going to install the upper A-arm to the knuckle. Then you're going to take your knuckle, install into your upper ball joint here. Put your washer back on, then your nut. Same way as before, if the shaft starts to spin, put a big angle on it like this. Then tighten it. Then we're going to go ahead and grab our cotter pin. We'll reinstall it. And we're going to rotate this around. We're going to loosen the upper A-arm up a little bit, let it come down. We're going to rotate it back to how it's going to be once installed on the machine. Pick it up and then slide the axle into it. And we can go ahead and tie the A-arm back up a little bit more just to make it easier on us. We're going to take our caliper and we're going to make sure that our brake line is running like so, following the A-arm and then sitting on the forwardmost portion of the knuckle. We're going to grab our lower A-arm and slide it back into the knuckle. We'll go ahead and grab our hardware so we can pop a bolt in it as soon as it's lined up. We're going to have to push our boot down just a little bit to get it to go back in there. You may have to wiggle it around. Sometimes you even have to take a rubber mallet, just kind of tap it up into place. Once our groove's lined up, we're going to go ahead and put our bolt in. We'll go ahead and start our nut. We can go ahead and fully tighten the lower bolt for the ball joint there. We're going to go ahead and reinstall our hub. Make sure you put your washer back on and the castle nut. We'll go ahead and fully tighten it until our keyway is lined up. Go ahead and put our cotter pin back in. Attach the brake caliper to the rotor. There we go. We're going to go ahead and get our bolts in there and get them fully tightened. Then we're going to remove our factory brake line clip. We're going to grab the provided clips that came with the A-arms. You're going to want to install them just like this. That way it makes it nice and easy to get our screws in there. So then we're going to grab our screws. We're going to locate the hole. There's one right here and there will be one right here as well. So right behind the SuperATV and then right next to where the ball joint hole is. Reattach the tie rod, then the shock. We're going to go ahead and fully tighten the tie rod in, reinstall our cotter pin. Then you'll want to repeat all these steps for the opposite side. And that's how super easy it is to install SuperATV's 2-inch forward offset A-arms on a Can-Am Defender. We went with a 30-inch tire. With these A-arms, you can go all the way up to a 32. For more information on these A-arms or any of SuperATV's great products, give us a call at 855-743-3427 or check us out online at superatv.com. Thanks for watching and have a great day.